Well, Olaf Scholz as Chancellor, first of all, would be quite a lot of continuity because as Finance Minister and Vice Chancellor, he has been around for 4 years in a very important position. And one of the major achievements of basically the past 2 years was the development of the European Recovery Fund, which is an exceptional tool to get the EU through a dire economic situation. But it's not only recovering in the sense of going back to what used to be, but it's really money that is supposed to be spent on transition, energy, climate, transformation of the economy, a lot of investment that we need in the field of digital. So there's this tool, and the interesting question will then be if a Chancellor Scholz would get the national backing to work together, in particular with France, to make this into a more permanent instrument. And the German government so far has always said exceptional times, exceptional measures. In particular, the Chancellor did that to get her own party behind the initiative. Scholz was more nuanced, also publicly, saying, this is a smart tool. We may look at it, we may develop it further, and this was a first important step.
We think of the FDP as a party of restraint when it comes to excessive spending. Would they not be a brake on any desire to loosen the Growth and Stability Pact conditions, or indeed to make that one-off move, that money raising, perhaps the standard of further money raising for investment to go forward? Will the FDP be a problem?
The FDP will be the most restrictive party in a possible Social Democrat-led government with the Greens and the Liberals. And so it means that it's very important to separate two debates, which were both in your question. One is the reform of the fiscal rules framework that the Eurozone has with the Stability and Growth Pact, which actually serves to control governments, that they don't spend too much, that they reduce public debt. And this framework is under enormous strain. And there are a number of countries, and the European Commission has raised that question as well, whether this doesn't need a more fundamental reform. And that's where the FDP will be watching very closely, that Germany doesn't commit to a major change of the setup in the monetary union, because the German interest has always been, with a unified monetary policy, to keep an eye on national debt and deficits, because otherwise you create a free riding problem from that perspective. The other thing is, would the Liberals agree to smart tools to encourage investment across the EU? And that's where you have to look at the Liberals as a party that is close to business, that has positioned itself as the innovator, as the party that stands against the CDU when it comes to their track record on investment. And Germany has a bad track record in investment. The COVID crisis showed so clearly, schools weren't on the internet. They didn't have the ability to teach online. So everyone in Germany knows today we need investment. The major task for the German government, if it seriously wants to hold the EU 27 together, which in my view is really the underlying rationale of any consecutive government that may follow, because we need the single market, we can't afford it breaking apart, there will have to be an approach that actually thinks about the whole EU. You can't just focus on the major leading countries.